What's up guys, and welcome back for another EVE Online video. Um, Today we're taking a look at the Minmatar Liberation Games event in 2022. It's the latest event, started on Thursday, so this is just the first full day of the event. Um, and yeah, thought we'd take a look. We're running some of the combat sites, so there are two combat sites in high sec. They are effectively like the lore is basically we're reenacting a couple of famous events in Minmatar Republic history. One of them that we're going to look at this video is called Escape from Auner Reenactment, and the other is called the Mati Jailbreak Reenactment. But in this video, we're hopefully going to do the Escape from Auner reenactment site. And I'm flying the Stabber Fleet issue. So the reason for that is the sites are limited up to faction cruisers. You can't do anything beyond that. So no Tech 2 cruisers or obviously no battle cruisers or battleships or anything. Faction cruisers. Excuse me. And because it's a Minmatar event, specifically Minmatar, often the way CCP runs some of these events is often the best suited ships for a specific event are the ones from that faction sort of thing. So in my opinion, the Stabber Fleet issue is the best suited for this one. You will see a lot of Vexor Navy issues around. That seems to be the most popular choice. But in my experience so far is the rats really go after your drones. So that can be an issue. And also because you can heat your weapon system on the Stabber, if you get into a bit of a race against someone, in Vexor Navy you've only got drones, so you can't heat, so you're just limited by your normal DPS. So if you need to kill the boss faster than anyone else, Stabber's often quite good for that as well. So just real quick rundown of the fit. First of all, the skin, because I like my skins. We've got the warp convergence on right now, which I think looks pretty nice on these. That was that the Doctor Who one? Might be the Doctor Who one. But we could go Luminaire Zenith, which also looks pretty good. And I've got Thucker Tribe, which I'm less interested in. I think that was actually a reward from this event last year. So onto warp convergence, but the important stuff. One thing to note as we go through this fit, some of the modules are blingy for no real reason. I do a lot of exploration, so I find these modules every now and again, and I don't sell them all. I like to fit some of them to my ships. So when I was fitting this ship up for the event, I had some of the modules lying around, so I fit them. They are overkill. You don't need them. It just makes it all a little bit safer. So when we get to them, obviously feel free to just go to the Tech 2 versions, or you could probably even meta down, but be a little bit cautious if you're going to meta down. So we'll start with the weapon system. I've gone with 220mm Vulcan autocannon 2s. This is primarily because I'm skilled into hybrid. No, not hybrid. Actually, what are they? Are they hybrids? Projectiles. I'm skilled into projectiles, so that's one of the reasons. But also the damage type, sort of the weapon system, so a kinetic and explosive is pretty good to deal against these guys. And are we bonused in it? Projectile, rate of fire and tracking speed. The Stabber Fleet issue is bonused into, so that's pretty good. Tracking speed's quite important, just because it's a lot of frigates. So I've gone Tech 2 versions of those, 220 mils, and with barrage, that basically means I've got high DPS, as you can see here, 445, but with enough range to hit everything in the site. Nothing is out of range, but you do need to bear one set of frigates we'll see in a bit, the Inquisitors. They sit at sort of 12-13 kilometers off, so you've got to make sure you can hit them at 12-13 kilometers. So that's the weapon systems. Then we'll just go to the rigs. We've got projectile burst aerator. Just take one rigs because I want to keep it relatively cheap. And then 2 auxiliary nanopumps for the armor. Mid slots, prop mod. So Tech 2 Afterburner, you can obviously just put whatever prop mod you want in there that fits. Stasis Webifier. In this case, I have gone Fed Navy. This was a deliberate choice because of the range. I think regular Stasis Webifiers have a range out to 10 kilometers, but as I said, there's one frigate type, the Inquisitor, that sits at 12, 13 kilometers. And they will just keep range. So if you try and burn towards them, it doesn't matter. You can't catch them unless you're in micro warp fit or something. So I went for this version because of the range at 14 kilometers. So you can just web everything, and then it really helps your guns application. I then have a tracking computer at the moment with a tracking speed script, but you could put the other script in there if you want to increase your optimal range. But I found tracking speed bonus to be the most effective. And then also a large cap battery. Again, I think faction is relatively important here. If you either go Republic Fleet or Thuka, however you pronounce it, Thuka maybe, who knows. Republic Fleet or that as cap battery because there is reasonable nuke pressure. It's not heavy nuke pressure, but we are active tanked and it's reasonable, so it is there. So you do need a battery to fight against that. And then in the lows, this is where we've got unnecessary bling. Reactive armor hardener. This was because when I first fit the shit up, for God's sake, when I first fit the ship up, I wasn't 100% sure on the incoming damage type, so I went reactive. But primarily they deal EM and thermal. So if you wanted to plug the thermal hole, well, it's not really a hole, but if you wanted to plug thermal a bit more, that would be fine. I just wasn't sure if we'd be facing kinetic and explosive. Then I've got a multi-spec energized membrane. I've got the Centum C-type, but you don't need it. You can just go Tech 2, no problem. And then I've also got the medium armor repairer. Again, I've got Centum C-type. Probably unnecessary. You could just go Tech 2. But if you are going to Tech 2 both of these, keep an eye on your tank and just see how you get on. I mean, you might lose your ship, obviously, but it maybe if you're not confident in your tank, you might be better to swap one of the gyro stabilizers for a bit more resist or something similar. So I've got 3 gyro stabilizers which are all damage increasing. You can see I've actually got diminishing returns. Actually, it's rate of fire. Okay, not yeah, but I've got diminishing returns. But so if you swapped out one gyro for and maybe another multi-spec, that might be better for you if you think you might be struggling with tank. So that's the fit. I've also got we've got hobgoblins just for a little bit of extra DPS, but I only use them on the boss because the drone aggro is really high. And as I said, I've got barrage for the most part. I've got some hail just in case I need the extra range, but I really don't use them very often. So that's the fit. Let's see if we can go and find one of the combat sites, and we will jump straight in. This is a promising sign. There is one in system, but we have got some people, thorax, and a stabber fleet issue here. So we've got someone else already running a stabber fleet issue. Thorax, where are we in range of it now? Omen. Omen is probably running it. Nope, Omen's not running it. I'll be surprised if the Algos is running it, so I'm just gonna... We're at the gate, so I'm just gonna bring my D-scan down to 1. The Algos is attempting to run it. Fair play to him if he can do that. Looks like he couldn't. So we're going to enter the acceleration gate. This site, the escape from Auner Reenactment, is just a single pocket, and I expect we're going to find an Algos wreck in here. but we'll see. But it's just, yeah, this specific site is a single pocket. The other one is different. It's 3 pockets. All right. So we've actually he triggered the boss wave. So turn everything on. Burn out to the prophecy. Yeah, he triggered the boss wave. So in this case, we're just going to kill the boss, take the loot, and you'll get an indication of what the loot looks like. But then I will hop through a few different systems to see if we can find a full site to demonstrate. So we'll finish this off. Did he get unlucky? Or did he warp out? Alright, he didn't die. He looks like he warped out because these things don't web. In which case, I feel a little bit bad. He'll probably be back in a second, only to find that I've killed the boss. Which again, I feel bad about, but the competition for these sites is so high at the moment. We're at the beginning of the event, so a lot of people are running these things. So like I've spent quite a long time hopping around, like maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, hopping around to find a site before I started recording. Let's have a quick look. Prophecy Reenactment Drone is the boss. This is the damage profile of the boss. So here he is, look, that's unfortunate for him. So you've got EM Thermal, incoming damage type, and now we've got an Omen as well. I should have done enough damage that this is just mine. I will get my drones out, but basically when you're killing, if there's multiple of you killing the boss, it's whoever deals the most damage to it. So this should be mine because I was here for long enough by myself, but people will try and nick the loot as well, so something to bear in mind. Right, that's that. I'm going to move on because there are obviously people running sites in here, so we need to see what we can find. But basically, in terms of loot, this is pretty... Sorry, dude. This is pretty standard loot. I'm just going to collect the rewards so I don't forget, because I like to farm up the skins. What do we got? So the value you get, in this case we didn't, but you get some boosters. So cerebral accelerators, which are good. They speed up your training, and also just like Pyrolancer boosters and things. But you do get a pretty consistent payout, which is nice, through these Liberation Games reward tokens. They are just tokens. You can't do anything with them except sell them at Minmatar stations, certain Minmatar stations, and they have a value of 100,000 ISK per token. And I find I get somewhere between 150 and 220-ish per site, so a consistent income of close to 20 million per site, and that's before any skins or boosters and things. So that's pretty nice. They don't take very long to run. It's just a case of finding them. Which you can see here we are already struggling with. Like, I've tried to put myself in a part of space that is low traffic and things, and like succeeding because there's no one in the system, but it's still difficult because, you know, 10 minutes ago someone's probably come through doing the same thing as me. I did want to mention something just then, but I've blanked on what it is, so hopefully that'll come back to me. I'm going to keep hopping around. What did I do this way? And I will skip forward in the video till we find the site, the one that we can do the whole site for, so that you can see it. So I'll see you in a couple minutes, hopefully. Okay, we've got one that hopefully isn't being run, or definitely isn't being run currently, but hopefully hasn't been started. There are 3 cruisers in system, but they're running the various multi-jailbreak reenactments. So hopefully we can do it. So warp into the single pocket. The competition is so high at the moment. Like I've moved on since I was recording the last section. I've moved on to a high sec pocket. Right, turn everything on. Basically, you've got these. So lots of it. In this case, a lot of Imperas have turned up, but the standard for this site is first wave is a bunch of frigates and 1 Augora so far. The frigates will vary. The Imperas go down very easily. They don't do very much, but they do warp, scram, and nuke. So pretty important to get rid of them if you are concerned about survivability and your capacitor, because these are the ones that are pinning you down. But as I say, they are easy to get rid of. You can see how quickly they die. Turn on the web, shoot them, and they melt. You've then got the Punishers, who are a little bit harder to kill. They hold range at about 5k, and they web a nuked. So if you want to kill them, kill them. And then you've got what I mentioned before, the Inquisitors. They're the 3rd frigate type, and they hold range. So they sit out at 12 or 13 kilometers, and they the guidance disrupt and tracking and disrupt. So if you find you're struggling to hit things, maybe best to take out the Inquisitors. Especially if there's a lot of them. Like, you might get unlucky and there might be a spawn with like 5 Inquisitors in, and suddenly you can't hit anything. So watch for that. But you can see web goes out and reaches them, and then tracking. Even though we're way out of my optimal range, the tracking and damage works well. And then the Augoras, they're basically the only cruiser spawn that I'm seeing at the moment this year. Obviously, don't hold me to that, but these guys nuke, so they've got the biggest nuke pressure. And they take a lot longer to kill. So I just tend to web them up and close the gap so that they're closer to my optimal, and then just wear them down basically. You could launch drones at this point, but as soon as you kill it, pull them in again, because otherwise all the frigs will just wreck your drones. So we'll just wait for him to die. There are 3 waves before the final wave, and what you get a bit of lore in, which is quite nice in the local chat. So as you warp into the first gate, it tells you what ships can come through, so there's your limitations, and then you get some lore around each wave as to what's turning up to shoot you on why. Basically it gives you a bit of a history of the Minmatar Republic and things, so that's pretty cool. I recommend giving that a read if it's the first time you're running the site. And it also, the text changes when the boss wave is about to spawn. I'll point that out. When it happens. So here we've actually got a bunch of Inquisitors. So as I said it, we've got 5. So I am going to try and take out a couple of them first, so that the guidance disruption isn't so bad. And then I will go after the Punishers once I've taken out a couple of them, and then I'll go back to the Inquisitors afterwards. So I want to start working my way towards that one. So on this occasion, there's no cruiser spawn. Last site I ran had a cruiser in each wave, so it is random, but it's okay. And you can see from this fit, at the moment the incoming DPS is nowhere near enough to break it. So I would be happy to not to meta down, but go to Tech 2 from the faction modules. But I do have relatively good skills, so if you're not confident, then obviously take care and change out your DPS for additional tank if you're worried about it. The DPS in this ship will pretty much always be high enough to do it. I've only gone I've gone higher DPS, lower tank because I know I can survive it, and that way I can just speed up. And also, if I get into a race to kill anything, then obviously my chances have been increased. So we'll finish this wave off, and then there is a third wave. At the moment I'm not moving. There's not a tremendous amount of point moving in this site. Bit different in the Mati jailbreak, which I will try and do a video on if there's any left, but there are still these guys in system. I'm struggling to hit this guy a little bit. I think the Inquisitors are still having a big impact. So let's finish them off. They should die quite quickly. I'm just going to fly towards him. But you can see if we go down to the reactive hardener, it's entirely gone into EM and thermal. So that's all the sort of evidence you need to work out what you need to tank. That's one of the reasons I like the reactive hardener, because if you're not sure, then you can put it on and it will make things better for you. But then also, you can then, if you check it every now and again, you go, okay, I need to tank EM thermal, and you could go and refit afterwards if you're having problems. Basically. So here's the third wave. Again, no cruiser spawn. So this appears to be a particularly easy one. What might happen, and what can happen in the third wave that you need to be aware of, and just sort of keep an eye on the local chat, is the boss can spawn at pretty much any point from now. It does appear to be random. So you'll get another bunch of chat in local talking about the boss, and then about 30 seconds after that pops up, he'll warp in. So if you're struggling to clear, if you're struggling with your tank, here we go. It's just come up. So we'll have a look in about 30 seconds. So as the evacuation transports, it starts talking about the Navy prophecy. Somehow destroy this powerful warship. So you'll see any second he'll warp in. So if you're struggling with tank or anything at this stage, it's only going to get worse. So if you're not scrammed, I'd warp out and then come back and try again shortly afterwards. I'm going to get rid of. There he is. Look. The other thing you can do if you need to sort of buy time is if you're not near his warping point, he'll warp out again and come back in. So he's going to do it now. So if you stay somewhere near the beacon, then maybe he won't warp in on top of you, and it buys you that little bit more time if you need it. He warps out and back in, goes out to a ping, and then it'll bounce back. He's coming back in now. I'm going to take out this Inquisitor while we fly towards each other, and then I'll ignore the last one, reload so I'm not reloading whilst mid-kill, burn towards him. He webs, so webs and newts, so which is one of the reasons I took out the Punisher, because the Punisher also webs and newts. So I will now web him and turn on my guns. Get out my drones, but keep an eye on them because the Inquisitor will go after your drones at some point, so just keep an eye on them. And then I burn one more, burn in so that he sits within my optimal range, and then switch off prop mod, and just basically the cap battery should then keep our capacitor alive, even though we're running quite a lot of stuff, including an armor rep. We just watch him die basically. If you wanna, I know we already had a look, but EM thermal, armor is his main defense, which is why we're doing kinetic explosive. Don't worry about the shield hole; it's armor that you want to worry about. So yeah, kinetic explosive, which is why the Minmatar ships, because they're projectile ships, they specialize in kinetic explosive damage. So that's why one of the reasons they're best suited for this. If you do want to fly a drone boat, then use Caldari or Minmatar drones. The ones not to use are EM thermal, so that's Amar, I think, and Galente. and they'll be dead, and we'll see what loot we get out of this guy. You don't need to kill the last thing, that will just warp off, so anything that's left at the end will just disappear. Watch a nice little explosion while we check the loot. There you go again, so roughly close to 20 million are there, because they're 100,000 a pop, so that's 19.3 million. Pyrolancer, and then an accuracy booster this time around. So what does the accuracy booster do? 3% tracking speed. Cool, for 2 hours. At the moment, no value, but when the events run a bit longer and people start putting them on the market, you'll be able to go and flog them for some money as well. So that's the site. When you're done, don't forget to claim the reward here so that you start working your way along this. What skins do we get? Hurricane up to Typhoon. Okay. And yeah, that's the site. So I hope you found it informative, guys. Go out there, run the event. Word of warning, the first couple of days will be difficult to find sites. The competition is high, but if you can find yourself a quiet system, they do have decent spawn rates. So while I've been running that one, 2 more Escape from Auners have spawned in this system, so I'm going to go run those now as well. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, guys. I'm primarily a wormholer and do some videos around wormhole life, but I also put out videos as early as I can during various events. So if you liked this video and want to see how I run other events during the course of the year, then subscribe to the channel and you'll get notified as soon as I put a video out at the beginning. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.